Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a viral internet narrative that has absolutely exploded online. We're going to unpack a wild conspiracy theory that somehow connects a tragic celebrity death to ancient civilizations, hidden underground cities, and get this, the actual shape of the Earth itself. It is a massive puzzle, and we're just going to lay out exactly what the source material is claiming. So let's jump right into the evidence. So, where does this whole story start? Well, it kicks off with a pretty startling, inciting incident: the sudden and tragic death of American singer Olivia Tree. Now, according to the rumors swirling around online, anyone who tries to bring a world-altering truth to the masses meets a very similar fatal end. The big claim here is that her death wasn't just a random tragedy. The theory suggests it was a deliberate move to silence someone who was getting a little too close to uncovering a forbidden reality. Let's look at the exact timeline the source lays out. Olivia Tree had literally just finished performing this massive, triumphant concert down in Brazil. She hopped on a helicopter to head back to the USA, right? But mid-flight, seemingly out of absolutely nowhere, another helicopter collides with hers in midair. She was killed instantly. For internet sleuths, this sudden, chaotic end to a rising star's life is exactly the kind of jarring anomaly they look for to build a much larger, darker mystery. And that brings us to the ultimate question this theory poses. Was this just a horrific, tragic aviation accident, or are we looking at a carefully planned conspiracy? The source material really wants us to think critically here, asking if she was eliminated specifically because she was trying to reveal a massive secret to the world. And spoiler alert, the overarching theory heavily implies it was a setup, using this violent crash as the main catalyst to pull us all down the rabbit hole. So what was this monumental secret? Well, at the time of her fatal crash, Olivia Tree was reportedly working on an unfinished investigative documentary focused entirely on Antarctica. And to be totally clear, we are not talking about your standard nature doc about penguins and climate patterns. No, the narrative asserts she was trying to expose what is allegedly hidden deep beneath miles of ancient freezing ice, even going so far as to suggest a highly advanced alien presence might be lurking down there in the dark. Things get even crazier because after her death, leaked clips supposedly from this unfinished documentary surfaced online and literally shook the internet. In these super cryptic pieces of footage, she allegedly talks about discovering 7 distinct doors built right into the unforgiving Antarctic ice. 7 alien doors. And the lore surrounding these clips, it suggests they aren't just ancient ruins, but active pathways leading to an unknown realm that is being deliberately hidden from us. Okay, so where do these doors actually lead? This brings us to a wildly fascinating concept called Agartha. According to the lore we're unpacking, Agartha is a hidden city situated directly beneath the Antarctic ice. But it's not just a tiny settlement. It's described as being unimaginably advanced, way beyond anything modern human civilization could even dream of today. Plus, the theory claims this hidden, subterranean utopia is where these alien beings actually live, just operating completely under our radar. Now, as Olivia was allegedly finalizing her project, the source claims she started asking much bigger, far more dangerous questions. She wanted to know, is there an entire untouched world beyond the ice? This is where the narrative makes a massive pivot. We zoom all the way out from a hidden underground city to a giant cosmological claim. It asks, what if Antarctica isn't just a frozen continent at the bottom of a spinning globe? What if it's actually a massive, insurmountable wall completely surrounding our Earth? You can see how this perfectly transitions into the next major piece of the puzzle. By suggesting Antarctica is a massive ice wall enclosing us, this conspiracy ties itself directly to the flat Earth theory. The narrative points out that despite centuries of modern science, satellites, and space exploration, the belief that we live on a stationary, flat plane surrounded by a towering ice wall is still surprisingly prevalent today. To really hammer this home, the source drops a pretty wild statistic. 10% of Americans currently believe the Earth is flat. Just think about that for a second. That's 1 in 10 people. The narrative uses this specific number to boldly argue that this isn't just some fringe idea hiding in the dark corners of the internet anymore. It's actually a significant, growing movement of people who are fundamentally questioning the entire geographical model of our planet. And to back up that modern statistic, the theory looks way back into history. It makes this incredibly sweeping claim that, quote, every culture talks about a flat Earth. The argument here is that historical precedent universally supports the idea that humanity does not live on a floating sphere hurtling through space, but rather inside a massive enclosed dome. The premise is basically that ancient civilizations intuitively knew this hidden truth long before modern science came along and supposedly rewrote the script. So who exactly are they talking about? Well, if you look at the historical records cited by the source, they point to Egyptian, Norse, Mayan, and Hebrew cultures. The theory argues that all of them independently depicted our world as existing within some form of an enclosed dome or firmament. Even though these ancient civilizations were separated by vast oceans and totally different eras, the narrative presents this shared cosmology as ultimate proof that the truth of our enclosed world has always been known, just slowly forgotten or deliberately hidden. But the conspiracy doesn't just stop at ancient history, guys. It brings the mystery right into our living rooms today. It makes the fascinating assertion that Hollywood has been secretly broadcasting this flat Earth dome truth for decades. The idea revolves around something called predictive programming. Basically, the theory claims that clues about our true, hidden reality are subtly embedded in plain sight within the pop culture, movies, and media we consume every single day. For example, let's look at popular entertainment. The source highlights a specific episode of The Simpsons where characters are playing a casual game of baseball, and a ball is hit so incredibly high that it literally shatters a glass dome in the sky. Then they point to the Hunger Games franchise, where characters are depicted fighting and surviving while completely trapped inside a massive artificial dome. The narrative doesn't view these as just fun works of fiction, but rather as arrogant hints dropped by media elites to reveal we are actually living inside a dome ourselves. Finally, we arrive at what believers consider the absolute smoking gun. We have this striking comparison. On one side, you have the standard geographical view of a spherical globe, the one we all had in our grade school classrooms. But on the other side, we have the official logo of the United Nations. The source points out that the UN logo is quite literally a flat map, and crucially, they claim this specific design accurately shows a flat Earth completely enclosed and locked in by the sprawling ice of Antarctica. So bringing all these crazy clues on the detectives board together, the overarching theory draws a really firm conclusion. It argues that the logo proudly hung in the UN office is, quote, clearly showing our world is flat, and Antarctica surrounds it. This final piece of visual evidence is used to tie everything together. The tragic death of Olivia Tree, the 7 hidden alien doors, ancient cosmologies, and Hollywood hints, all into one massive, seamlessly connected global cover-up. Now, the crucial point we arrive at today isn't necessarily about definitively proving or disproving these extraordinary claims. Rather, it's about understanding the undeniable power of the narrative itself. We've mapped out exactly what this viral theory is claiming, from hidden alien cities beneath the ice to a world securely enclosed by a giant dome. And it really leaves us with a fascinating final thought to ponder. What drives our deep, human fascination with grand hidden designs? Why do stories of secret doors and ancient cover-ups capture our collective imaginations so powerfully? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer to unpack this wild mystery. Keep questioning, keep analyzing the structures around you, and I'll see you in the next one.